Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome to Guns N' Roses Central. And today I want to do another episode of Guns N' Roses True Stories. So today we're talking about the re-recording of Appetite for Destruction. So this is a story that you may or may not be familiar with. So at some point between 1997 to 1999, Axl Rose re-recorded every single song off Appetite for Destruction, with the exception of a couple songs. And he re-recorded it with the current lineup at that time. So I'm going to warn you guys, the interview was pretty long, but there's only audio of about 3 minutes or so of the interview, so here's what he had to say about re-recording Appetite for Destruction.
Fair to say that we may never be hearing this stuff live again, this old material?
I have re-recorded Appetite, and
You've re-recorded Appetite for Destruction?
yes, I have.
The whole album?
Yes.
Well,
It's something that we had to rehearse anyway, and learning the old gun songs and getting them up, putting them on tape really forced everybody to get them up to the quality that they needed to be at. And once the energy was figured out, by the new guys, how much energy was needed to get the songs right, then it really helped in the writing and recording process of the new record.
So in the same interview, which unfortunately there's no live video of, Axl talked a bit more about why he re-recorded Appetite and some of the changes that were made. He said, I've re-recorded Appetite. We recorded all with the exception of 2 songs because we replaced those with You Could Be Mine and Patience. And why do we do that? Well, we had to rehearse them anyways to be able to perform them live again. And there was a lot of recording techniques and certain subtle techniques and drum fills and things like that that are kind of 80s signatures that subtly could use a little sprucing up, a little less reverb, and a little bit less double bass and things like that. He also talked about the lineup that re-recorded Appetite. He said Josh Freese on drums, Tommy Stinson on bass, Paul Tobias on guitar. You guys know him as Paul Hughey. That's how it's been written everywhere. It's Paul Tobias on guitar and Robin Fink was on lead guitar, but that will stay on some of it. Robin's guitar will stay on some, but not all. I don't know what I'm going to do with it exactly. So around early 1998, Killing Joke bassist and producer Martin Youth Glover, who I had the chance to interview, actually talked about what was going on when he was hired to come and work with Guns N' Roses. In fact, he wasn't so much hired, he just came to sort of check things out. So one of the first things he talked about was that Axl was in the process of re-recording Appetite for Destruction, so Youth had to do his best to try to distract Axl from re-recording Appetite and focus more on the new album, which of course was Chinese Democracy. So in 1999, there was the Adam Sandler movie that came out called Big Daddy, and they licensed the song Sweet Child of Mine. So the actual version of Sweet Child of Mine is kind of a different version than you've probably heard before. It starts out with the live version from Live Era, one can assume, and then it goes into the re-recorded version of Sweet Child of Mine, which I've linked to down below if you guys want to check it out. So those have Axl's 1999 vocals on them. So when Axl licensed the re-recorded version of Sweet Child of Mine to the Adam Sandler film Big Daddy, it wasn't that easy. In fact, there was a threat of legal action from Slash and Duff McKagan because they would have been basically robbed of performance royalties. So what ended up happening is that the song ended up being buried in the credits and not even included on the film's album. So another version, which was recorded by Sheryl Crow, was actually thought to have been a compromise. It's also in the movie, and speculation said that around that time, the old members just wouldn't let it all happen. Fast forward now to 2001, there's a big blockbuster movie coming out called Black Hawk Down, which was produced by Jerry Bruckheimer and directed by Ridley Scott. It's a fantastic film if you guys haven't seen it. The film is about the UN humanitarian mission in Somalia in the early 90s that went horribly wrong, and they interviewed the film's music supervisor Kathy Nelson, who talked about trying to negotiate with Guns N' Roses to get the song Welcome to the Jungle included in the film. They said that they unsuccessfully tried to negotiate with Guns N' Roses reps to include the song in the soundtrack, but she added that she has no knowledge of the group's internal business. She said, I found it incredibly difficult to license Guns N' Roses songs, says Nelson. We tried for the rights to the original masters and then a re-recorded version. We came close, but it just wasn't going to happen. Nelson added that the movie is based on a true story and Welcome to the Jungle was the song playing during the real-life incident, so the filmmakers were hoping to land the song for accuracy's sake. The track Minstrel Boy by Joe Strummer was used instead. Now, that's an error in the actual article. They use the song Epic by Faith No More instead when they're about to go out on their mission. So fast forward now to 2004. In May of 2004, it's around the time that the Greatest Hits album came out, and Axl, Slash, and Duff filed a lawsuit to stop Geffen from releasing the Greatest Hits album. But there was also another lawsuit that maybe wasn't as reported about. So Duff and Slash both filed lawsuits against Axl, basically saying that Axl doesn't have any controlling interest in the songs, but also saying that he killed deals that would have put their tunes in half a dozen movies, including Just Married, We Were Soldiers, Death to Smoochie, and Old School. And of course, the song Welcome to the Jungle never made it into Black Hawk Down because according to the lawsuit, Axl wouldn't let the producers use it. Instead, he wanted to re-record it, thereby allegedly cheating his ex-bandmates out of the licensing fee. So David Powell, who runs the Music Bridge, a company that deals with music rights for movies, according to Powell, licensing is very important for any band or any artist that gets them out there in popular culture. And in Powell's business, when movies come calling, most bands seem eager to participate since there are some income streams that can be generated from the songs as well as master recordings for years and sometimes generations to come. So according to Slash's book and a lot of news reports that came out in late 2005, Slash went over to Axl's house one night in hopes to settle the lawsuit. So he, at least according to Slash, met Betta, who was Axl's assistant. But in 2006, Axl put out a statement basically saying that Slash showed up at his house unannounced and insulted all his Velvet Revolver bandmates, and basically said that Axl's been the stronger of the two of them over the past 10 years. As a result of the news story getting out, it did a lot of bad things in the Velvet Revolver camp and almost caused the band to break up. Regarding the lawsuit, it looks like it either was settled out of court or the case was dismissed. Now, a lot of the times, a lot of these lawsuits never go to trial because they're too expensive. So I think one of the things that could have happened is that it was settled, or basically it just was dismissed and they never proceeded with it. But that basically does it for this episode of Guns N' Roses Central. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and go listen to the re-recorded version of Sweet Child of Mine. Let me know what your thoughts are. Make sure you guys subscribe as well. Take care.